For your health this morning, the number of monkeypox cases in the Bay Area continues to rise. San Francisco has the most people infected in the Bay Area, with more than 800 cases reported as of yesterday. And there is growing demand for the vaccine. Joining me to talk about this now is State Senator Scott Wiener. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it hasn't happened here, but we are learning this morning that Spain has reported 2 people died there because of monkeypox, and 75 people in West Africa lost their lives. So is California treating this as a life-threatening disease?
I do think California is taking this extremely seriously in terms of doing everything in our power to expand access to vaccination, to get people connected to treatment, and to get information out. We can always do more, and we should be doing more, of course, but I do believe that California is treating this with the sense of urgency that it deserves.
Now, we've been talking about the demand being greater than the supply. We've seen long lines of people waiting to get a monkeypox vaccine in your home county of San Francisco. Mayor London Breed this week officially declared a public health emergency. So what can we expect from that move?
Well, the state of emergency, in addition to just projecting that this is very serious, will really streamline and hasten the process of entering into contracts, hiring people, getting testing and vaccination sites up and running. It'll just make our response even more nimble. So I'm really thrilled that the mayor did this, and I think we should do it at the state level as well.
So by Thursday, California recorded less than 800 monkeypox infections, as mentioned, and the Department of Public Health is requesting 800,000 more for a state of 40 million people. Is this virus spreading quickly at this time, and is shoring up a local supply a sign that it's just going to get worse before it could get better?
I think it is spreading quickly, and it's accelerating, and the lack of vaccines makes it really hard to control it. People here in San Francisco, and I know elsewhere, but particularly here, want the vaccine. And more people are realizing that they're at risk and they should get the vaccine. So that's a good thing. There's increasing awareness. People want the vaccine, but the city keeps running out because people want it. And then we have to wait for the federal government to send more to California, to send more to us. We'd like to start getting our allocation directly from the federal government, like Los Angeles does, to cut out the middle person and to get our doses more quickly, because they can't come fast enough. My concern, I have a number of concerns, but one of my big concerns is that as the more this spreads, and particularly if it starts spreading into straight communities, we're going to see a dramatically increased demand for vaccines, even far beyond what we're seeing today, which will swamp any increases in vaccine supply that we see. So the faster we can move to get vaccines into arms, the better.
And so what's the likelihood of seeing this disease at this time spread into other communities? Is there a likelihood of this becoming a larger problem?
If we don't control it quickly, I'm pretty confident that it will. There's nothing inherently gay about this virus. It really started with gay and bi men, but it can spread to others. And again, if we don't control it soon, there's a good chance that it will. We have a small window to control this outbreak.
And we did mention that a few groups were singled out in discussing where it has been spreading more so. But how do we balance out spreading this information to make sure that these communities are safe without stigmatizing them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have to be honest with people about who's at risk and not hide from that. And gay and bi men overwhelmingly are the ones who are getting sick. And so it's important for members of my community. I'm a gay man. It's important for members of my community to understand that and to know that they need to really be proactive about going to get vaccinated and taking whatever actions in their own lives they need to take to protect themselves. And it would be doing a disservice if we if we pretended that it was not largely at this point impacting gay and bi men. But we can do that in a way that doesn't stigmatize people, and it's not about judging people. We're already seeing some homophobia and blaming, just like we did with HIV, blaming gay men, demonizing gay men, saying that, you know, we're irresponsible or whatever, shaming. And that's, of course, that's never been a good public health strategy, and telling people, oh, you should never have sex again. That's just not, that's not reality. So we need to give people information, make sure that people can make informed choices about their own risk level that they're willing to tolerate, make sure that people know where to get a vaccine, how to get treatment if they get monkeypox, how to isolate, and what to be on the lookout for symptoms so that they can isolate and not infect other people if they happen to get it. Those are the kinds of things that we can do to keep the community as safe as possible.
And because the demand is outweighing the supply, the World Health Organization and Centers for Disease Control did mention that smallpox vaccines can also be used. There's an effective rate of 85% for people who don't have a skin condition like eczema to help combat monkeypox. So yeah. I know it's been eradicated since 1972. No one's getting that vaccine at this time, but there is a national stockpile. So what's the likelihood of reaching into that stockpile in order to get those vaccines out, and while we wait for the monkeypox vaccine specifically?
Yeah, and to be clear, the Jynneos vaccine, this is the new vaccine that we all want people to get, was designed for smallpox, not for monkeypox. But everyone believes that both the old smallpox vaccine and this smallpox vaccine are likely very effective against monkeypox as well. And one of the reasons that monkeypox started spreading more in Africa was because people stopped getting vaccinated for smallpox, because smallpox was eradicated. So first of all, on the new vaccine, the Jynneos vaccine, which is the one that doesn't have the significant side effects, that's what we want people to have. There's currently only one small manufacturer in Denmark that is making this vaccine. And I think they're going to go to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week manufacturing, and God bless them for doing that. It's not enough. We need to get this vaccine licensed to other pharmaceutical companies to dramatically expand production. With respect to the older smallpox vaccine, the ACAM vaccine, that smallpox vaccine, unlike the new one, is a live virus vaccine, which is why immunocompromised people or people with eczema can't take it. That is an option. We do have, I think, 100 million or more doses of it in our national stockpile, and cities and counties and states are able to access that. The challenge with it is, first of all, it's very complicated to administer it. It's like numerous shots. It's not just like one. It's like you have to do like a whole bunch of injections at the injection site. It's also, because it's a live virus, it can have significant side effects. And again, for healthy people, they'll almost certainly be fine, but it does have significant side effects. And the site of the vaccination can be contagious for the virus that is used in that vaccine. So people have to cover it, be very protective of other people in their household so as not to make them sick. And so it's just a complicated vaccine. If we really, really needed to, we do have the option of tapping into that stockpile and vaccinating a whole bunch of people with an effective vaccine. And I know that our state and local health authorities have thought about that, but it's not ideal. It would really be a sort of a more desperate last resort.
Thank you so much to State Senator Scott Wiener for joining us. We'll be right back.